Nina and I want to briefly talk about the names. First, want to thank everybody for coming. I know for this community, it's not convenient to have a baby 8 days before Erev Rosh Hashanah. So, Nina and I apologize in advance. I also just want to note that there are a few people who couldn't be here, who we very much would have liked to have been here. And so, Ariel Tzvi's great-grandparents, Bob and Phyllis Alexander, his grandfather, Grandpa Glenn, whose birthday it also is today, so happy birthday, Grandpa. His great-grandmother, my grandmother, Beverly Berry, our nanny, who will get to see some of this and hear some of this, we miss dearly. And Penina's parents, Rabbi Shalom Shlita and Dalia Podwal, were with us for the past week, but Penina's dad is a rabbi and he had to leave because, well, he has Rosh Hashanah too. But we would not have made it through the last week without them, and so we miss having them dearly as well. Oh, there's no way. My mother's father, Leonard Berry. Anybody who works with me knows I cannot multitask. My mother's father, Leonard Berry, his Hebrew name was Aryeh, and it's almost like we've been waiting to have a child so I could find a way to bring him back. So Ariel, Lion of God, is named after my papa, Aryeh. My papa was the kind of man, when he went to heaven, God didn't ask him, how come you weren't Aryeh? How come you weren't Leonard? He asked him, how in the world, in the time that you lived, were you able to stay Aryeh? Were you able to be truly the person that you are? Were you able to hold true to every value that you had? He was an exceptional businessman, and I'm sure that when he went to heaven, God said, how is it that in the world you live in, you were able to be the most honest businessman that could have ever lived? I'm convinced that question won't be asked of anybody again until Alan Hurst, God forbid, is asked it. Ariel, incidentally, is also one of the names for Yerushalayim. It's used in Isaiah. I only know that because it's in my favorite Gemara. It's in my favorite piece of Talmud. As a commentary on the side of the page. You got to sort of search for it. But in Isaiah, we learn Ariel, Kiryat Chana David. Ariel, the city that David encamped in. And they are referring to Yerushalayim. And this 3,000-year-old religious experiment that is Judaism, I think, rests in our ability to see Yerushalayim in Israel as what we could be. And we want that for Ariel as well. I'm going to let Nina talk in a second. When I was 12 years old, my papa, Aryeh, Leonard, who this beautiful child is named after partly, he died right before my bar mitzvah. And so part of my bar mitzvah speech, which I'm sure my mother wrote for me, is dedicated to him. And I don't think I could say it any better today than I could those many years ago. when his memory was a couple months old. It was Parshat Noach. Noach reminds me a great deal of my papa, who I miss very much at this time. Life cycle events were very important to him, and this is the first in our family since he died. My papa said one thing nobody could take away from me was a good name. And I feel very proud to have my papa's name, Leonard. So it happens it's my middle name, it's a long story. My papa always set good examples for me. To have a good name, one has to do good things. He taught me his family always came first. He taught me to be kind to all people. He taught me not to take anything for granted. He taught me he was always honest with his customers. He taught me to always follow through with his promises. Finally, he taught me when he was sick, instead of complaining, he would thank God for his wonderful family, for how lucky he was. And my blessing for Ariel Tzvi is that together, between the three of us, we live up to half of the man that he was. Half. He truly was. I would think. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so Ariel's middle name is Tzvi, and I guess similar to something that Aaron said, I've also been looking for an opportunity to give my grandfather, Harry, whose Hebrew name was Tzvi, a little namesake. So he was also my maternal grandfather, and some of our fondest memories growing up were with we called him Todd, and his wife, my grandmother, my Savta, and he was just a wonderful person, a person who lived his life dedicated to family and community, and their synagogue, and Israel, and lived a life of mitzvah. And the other thing that's really notable about him, as much as, he was also a loving and caring husband, father, grandfather, is that he was also a very deeply humble person. And I think that's something that he bestowed upon my mother also. So as much as, I'm so honored to give over to our son his name, Tzvi, I also feel like it's also an honor, a tribute to my grandmother, Ann Stein, who died 2 years ago, because she was always, while she was alive, she said to me several times that it would mean so much to her also if she could, if her husband, Harry, could have a namesake. And so I feel like today we're remembering a lot of really wonderful people in our lives, and I know how much they would have loved meeting you and getting to know you, our little bug. I also love that the name Tzvi means deer or gazelle in Hebrew, and I think it's such a beautiful, graceful, powerful animal. And also, my blessing for our son is that he can encompass all of these amazing qualities as he grows into the person that that he will become, and we can't wait to get to know. So,